He's hurting me. Please send someone, he won't stop." The desperate plea echoes through the phone lines, a cry for help lost in the chaos of a violent night. But what happens when the call for help goes unanswered? When the system designed to protect fails those it's meant to serve? Tonight, we delve into the heartbreaking reality of domestic abuse and the systemic failures that often leave survivors feeling betrayed and re-traumatized. This is the story of Emily, a woman who bravely fought back against her abuser, only to be met with indifference and injustice. To understand Emily's story, we need to go back to the beginning, to a time when her world was filled with promise and hope. Emily was a bright, ambitious woman with a promising future. She had a loving family, a close circle of friends, and a fulfilling career. She met David at a work conference and they were instantly drawn to each other. He was charismatic, successful, and seemed to share her values and ambitions. They fell in love quickly, their relationship a whirlwind of romance and adventure. David was everything Emily thought she wanted in a partner: supportive, intelligent, and passionate. They were married within a year, their future seemingly bright and full of possibilities. But beneath the surface, a darker reality was brewing. David's charming facade began to crumble, revealing a man who was deeply insecure and controlling. He became increasingly critical of Emily, belittling her accomplishments, questioning her choices, and isolating her from her loved ones. Emily tried to brush it off at first, attributing his behavior to stress or a bad day. But the criticism became more frequent and more cutting. David would tell her she was lucky to have him, that no one else would ever love her. He'd make her feel like she was worthless and incapable. Emily's self-esteem plummeted. She started to doubt her own judgment, her own worth. She became increasingly isolated, withdrawing from her friends and family, afraid of their judgment and David's disapproval. David's controlling behavior escalated. He'd monitor her phone calls and text messages, track her location, and even dictate what she could wear. He'd accuse her of flirting with other men, of being unfaithful, of betraying him. "Who is this guy? Why are you texting him? Are you cheating on me?" "No, it's just a colleague. We were discussing a project." "A project? At this hour? Don't lie to me." The first time David hit Emily, it was after a work event. He'd accused her of flirting with her boss, and when she denied it, he flew into a rage. He grabbed her by the arm, bruising her skin, and shoved her against the wall. Emily was stunned and terrified. She couldn't believe that the man she loved could be capable of such violence. But David was immediately remorseful. He begged for forgiveness, promising it would never happen again. "I'm so sorry, Emily. I don't know what came over me. Please forgive me. I'll never hurt you again, I swear." Emily wanted to believe him. She loved him and she desperately wanted their relationship to work. She also blamed herself, wondering if she had somehow provoked him. But the cycle of abuse had begun. The tension would build, followed by an incident of violence, then remorse and reconciliation, and a brief period of calm before the cycle started again. Over time, the violence became more frequent and severe. Emily started to wear long sleeves and makeup to hide the bruises. She made excuses for her injuries, telling friends and family that she was clumsy or had accidents. She was trapped in a web of fear and isolation. She felt like she had nowhere to turn, no one to help her. David had convinced her that she was worthless, that no one would believe her, and that she deserved the abuse. But one night something changed. David had been drinking heavily and he flew into a rage over a minor incident. He grabbed Emily by the hair, dragging her across the room, and threw her against the coffee table. As she lay on the floor in pain and terror, something snapped inside her. She realized that she couldn't take it anymore. He had to escape. "Please send someone, he's hurting me, he's going to kill me." "Operator." Calm, reassuring voice. Ma'am, can you tell me your address? Emily, struggling to speak. It's... Please hurry. The police arrived to find a chaotic scene. Emily was cowering in the corner, her face bruised and bloodied. David was pacing the room, ranting and raving. Officer, authoritative voice. Sir, put your hands where I can see them. David, slurring his words, she's my wife. I can do whatever I want. Officer, you're under arrest for domestic assault. You have the right to remain silent. Emily was taken to the hospital where her injuries were documented. She gave a statement to the police recounting years of abuse. She was finally ready to press charges. But her ordeal was far from over. The legal system, often ill-equipped to handle cases of domestic violence, failed her. David hired a high-powered attorney who used every tactic to discredit Emily. He painted her as an unstable, unreliable witness, suggesting that she had fabricated the abuse or even provoked it. Attorney, Ms. Emily, are you sure you're remembering this correctly? Isn't it possible that you're exaggerating the events? Emily, voice trembling with anger and frustration. No, I'm telling the truth. He hurt me. The trial was a grueling experience for Emily. She had to relive the trauma of the abuse in front of a courtroom full of strangers. He felt like she was being victimized all over again. After days of testimony and deliberation, the jury returned a verdict of not guilty. David walked free. Emily was devastated. She felt betrayed by the system that was supposed to protect her. She felt like she had lost everything: her home, her marriage, her sense of safety and security. But Emily's story doesn't end there. She refused to be silenced. She channeled her pain and anger into activism, becoming a vocal advocate for survivors of domestic violence. She shared her story with the media, raising awareness about the prevalence of domestic abuse and the need for systemic reform. She helped to create a support group for survivors, providing a safe space for them to heal and connect with others who understood their experiences. Emily's story is a powerful reminder that even in the face of injustice, there is hope for healing and change. It's a call to action for all of us to stand up against domestic violence and support survivors on their journey to recovery. What are your thoughts on Emily's story? How can we as a society better support survivors of domestic violence and hold abusers accountable?